So K-pop is super popular now, and this is what happens.
It's Kachi!
This is KAACHI, the first UK-based K-pop group. And I think that is where everyone has a problem, labeling KAACHI a K-pop group. And that got me asking myself, what makes K-pop K-pop? Is it just Korean music? Is it just a genre? Is it just Koreans seeing music? Asians? What is the difference between being a Koreaboo and appreciating K-pop? Now, I know I said on Twitter that I won't be talking about KAACHI because you probably already saw tons of videos about them. I want to talk about the more broad question. What makes K-pop K-pop? Can non-Asians be in K-pop? As you saw in one of my past videos about the most popular K-pop idols not from Korea, non-Korean idols are really popular. But the list was made up of Koreans born outside of Korea, Chinese, Japanese, Taiwanese, Thai idols, basically all Asian ethnicities, but non-Asians? We didn't see any. But what happens when a non-Asian artist jumps into the Korean scene? Before KAACHI, we had multiple other examples, like Lana. Lana is a solo artist that was born in Russia and debuted in Korea as a solo artist. She had a debut and one comeback under High CC Entertainment, and you can see her today in the Chinese television show Produce Camp 2020, where she's taking on another language in Chinese. K-pop fans had problems with her because she is not Korean, or not Asian. Her Korean was lacking, and a lot of people said she didn't have the talent for it. But she continued to be on Korean shows and broadened her horizon, probably due to her label. What about EXP Edition? You remember these guys. EXP Edition was created from a college project, someone that wanted to get a grade in a class. They started here in the States in New York and eventually moved to Korea to debut in 2017. As far as we know, they're still active. The problems K-pop fans had with this group was they changed their appearance and the way they acted. When they spoke Korean or tried to be on some Korean shows, they changed their attitude to be a little bit more cutesy, aegyo, and it didn't really feel right. The word cringe comes to mind. As far as music and talent, they were alright. Nothing really caught anyone's attention except for the way they look. Now, a non-Asian that really changed the landscape in K-pop was Alex from BP RANIA. She was brought into an already existing K-pop group in 2015. She performed with the group a couple of times and did pretty well in my opinion. She would eventually leave the group in 2017 by her own choice because of her feeling a bit of a toxic environment. Not really going into detail though. Alex stands out from the rest because she did her thing. She didn't really change who she was. She was trying to learn Korean and she didn't act any different. Now don't get me wrong, she did get some hate because that's gonna come along with anyone that tries to do something different. And I still think to this day, a lot of K-pop fans still have respect for her as an artist. What about UHSN? You remember that multicultural K-pop group that debuted in Korea not too long ago by a big label. Mnet produced a whole reality show trying to form a new girl group from multiple countries. From Russia, Sweden, Thailand, Egypt, Norway, the US, Ukraine, Poland, Estonia, Sweden again, and Japan. With no real Korean idols in the group at all. And believe it or not, when they debuted in 2019, they were met with overwhelming praise rather than criticism. Because it was produced well, they were trained properly, and it didn't come off as trying to act K-pop or Korean. They were following the K-pop sound, and a lot of people said that if you didn't actually look at the music video, it sounded like a usual K-pop song that would be released. And going back to the show, the whole show was produced not to have this girl group be the next big thing, but to showcase foreign people liking Korean culture and appreciating it and learning about it more in depth. Now, since it was just a project, they haven't done anything since the debut, and I think that's probably it for them. And I don't really want to mention it, but I guess I have to. Oli London, that guy? Yeah. I don't need to mention why K-pop fans had a problem with him, but yeah. And today, we have KAACHI. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, and I'm not going to go into that much detail, but they have one Korean member, and aside from all the rumors and dramas, which I'm not going to get into, I think the problem stems from, like I mentioned in the beginning, labeling them as a K-pop group, although they didn't debut in Korea and they don't really have that much Korean or K-pop influence aside from some Korean management. People didn't like their debut song, and I can see why. It was barely produced, and the members didn't come out sounding good. Some of the members actually have some training going to Korea and learning in the 1 Million Dance Studios. Again, the producers didn't do them justice as far as their vocals and rap. The instrumental is a bit jumbled, and it was meant to be catchy, but I didn't really feel that. And I see a lot of people saying they could have trained longer, and yes, it does feel rushed, and it does feel like they're capitalizing on a moment here, but don't send hate or spread rumors about the girls. Who I think is the mastermind behind this is their label. But that also got me thinking, would KAACHI be as popular as they are now if they did dance, sing, and spoke Korean well? Probably not, but they wouldn't have got as much hate as they did. Even with those examples and the history of non-Asians in K-pop, I don't think I can answer the question of what makes K-pop K-pop. So I'm gonna pass it on to you. What is K-pop to you? What makes Korean pop in the first place? You know, it's funny how no one really cared about K-pop until it really popped off. Now everyone wants to capitalize on K-pop's popularity today. But anyways, guys, that's it for me. Hope you enjoyed this one. I know that's a little bit different, but I wanted to get my opinion out there, talk about KAACHI being the most talked about thing right now. And yes, I missed the boat a little bit, but I'm talking about it now. If you enjoyed it, please give this video a like. And remember, only 14% of you guys are subscribed. You already enjoy my content, so why not hit the subscribe and the bell so you don't miss a new video. And if an opportunity comes to interview KAACHI, let me know some questions I should ask them down in the comments as well. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next one. 안녕.